I'll fly, and I'll fly into the end of the sky. So I'll be the one who...
Hello guys, time blind reaction of this month of Macabre or Halloween fanfic Grimdark reading called Chrysalis Revenge, My Little Pony Grimdark reading. It is 51 minutes and 29 seconds long. I don't know what to expect in this fanfiction. It has topped last year's fanfiction. I can't remember what it was, but let's just say we're going to react to this video in 3, in 2, in 1. Let's go. Okay, here we go. Hello, Sparrow. Dripping water. Okay.
What?
Hello, Starlight.
Where am I?
Questioned Starlight as she fluttered, her eyes open.
Where the heck
only
are
to see
you?
nothing but the reflection of herself against a glass wall. Starlight attempted to move.
Looks
but
like
was stopped
it looks
by
like
some
green
sort
fire
of
to
massive
me.
force that held her entire body in the seat she was sitting in. She couldn't even budge under the massive pressure, immediately causing her to panic.
It must smell green
Through her
flames.
struggling and shouting for some pony to come and save her.
Is that a clue?
A familiar laughter erupted from the darkness. It was a laugh she had heard before, just a couple months before then, but she didn't have to think for long, hearing the unknown voice speak.
Ah, finally, you've awoken.
Spoke the voice, which
That looks a
Starlight
bit creepy.
immediately recognized.
And cute.
She questioned.
Oh, hello, Starlight. I mean,
no see,
hello,
Starlight Glimmer.
hello, Chrysalis.
It's been too long for my taste.
Spoke Chrysalis
Really?
in an aggressive tone.
Where am I?
Shit.
How did I get here?
Sorry.
Starlight barked. Chrysalis chuckled, taunting Starlight in her helpless
Chrysalis
state.
looks a bit younger. Hello.
It wasn't very hard to cast a simple spell on your fragile mind that would put you into a sleep.
A simple spell?
Gather what I needed for the game you are about to play. I told you I would exact my
Chrysalis
revenge
is a
upon
haircut.
you, Starlight Glimmer. However, after so long, I discovered that killing you would be too easy.
What?
It wouldn't be enough to make
You gotta kill,
pay for taking
Starlight
my kingdom
now.
away from me, along with my role as queen of the changelings. My revenge had to be something more malevolent, something more sinister, something more equal to what you did to me in front of my subjects.
Stated Chrysalis. Chrysalis's voice
Chrysalis-
was strong enough to make the entire
Chrysalis has got
room
something
shake,
planned.
showing just how much anger Chrysalis held for Starlight. Starlight sat still, unaware of the horrors that awaited her.
You took my kingdom away from me, so I'm going to take away
No.
everything you hold dear.
Suddenly, the glass wall before Starlight manifested into a well-lit
She
room,
did it for the right
where her
reasons, though.
friend sat in the confines of some sort of device that looked like a giant rotating object. Twilight, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Rarity, Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy, and Trixie Lulamoon were the friends confined to the rotating device.
What?
Giving Starlight a vibe that this device was designed for more than just rotation.
What is this
Hoping to get
rotation
her friends'
device?
attention, she yelled out to them, but they didn't move.
Why can't they hear me?
They are currently under my control, in a state of sleep, until I decide to free them, that is. However, once your
She's not gonna
friends
free
wake
them.
up, they'll be wishing they were never awoken. The device before you is
Oh,
a
it reminds me of another story.
chain-reactive
Awoken.
death wheel that I like to call the Wheel of Choice.
I thought you were going to say Wheel of Fortune there.
What do you mean by wheel of choice?
Questioned Starlight.
A
That's
choice.
where your role comes in, my dear. You see, you get to decide what happens to your friends. Before you are 3 levers, and whichever one you pull will be your choice. Just know that no matter what you choose isn't going to end happily.
It reminds
I
me of
designed
the
this game to
friendship
end
test a bit,
in
actually.
Nothing but misery for you and your pathetic friends. Well, it's
They're
only
not
sweet
pathetic.
vengeance for me. Here's how it works, dear. The wheel will spin once, and depending on which pony it lands on, I have 3 choices for you to decide. The first option...
Only 3?
Well, you'll find out shortly what those options are. The second option is to spin a wheel again, and whatever unlucky victim it stops on will be killed.
The result of the second option
It's
made
like
a shiver run up
truth or dare
Starlight's
sort of
spine.
thing.
The thought of killing a friend didn't even cross her mind, as much as whatever the first options were going to be. She continued to listen as Chrysalis reached the third option.
What's the
The
third?
third and final option is probably the easiest choice.
Kill yourself?
Though not for you, I'm afraid. You can save all your friends and free them from their assured deaths, but at the cost of your life. You see that small slot in the middle of the device? That's reserved for you, if you choose to save your friends. However, don't think it's going to be so easy to save your friends, seeing I devised a way for your friends to even kill themselves.
Starlight was confused and frozen in
Killed?
fear.
Killed?
What did Chrysalis mean
called?
by a way for her friends to kill themselves? The conditions of the situation were already too much for Starlight to fathom, and Chrysalis just continued to add fuel to the fire.
You see those little
Oh.
angles along the bottom of the seas your friends are sitting on? Well, those are their life
What pony will
force.
be declined
But before you
to
start
save their
asking
friends
stupid
and kill
questions,
themselves?
Allow me to explain. Your friends are seated in the device controlled
Is it Twilight
by
because he
changing
keeps
magic.
falling down?
And as you know,
Goodness sake.
we feed on love. Well, this device will slowly drain your friends of all their strength, unless you can keep your friends content in their situations,
How?
based on what you choose.
Starlight was starting to understand that Chrysalis had covered her bases well.
Yeah.
She had devised this plan for revenge cleverly, and had no idea what was coming
I
next.
think she's been planning for a
except
very long
carnage
time.
and horrors that she would never forget.
Did she make the
Chrysalis
will?
continued to
Did she
speak,
make the will?
so Starlight listened, knowing she was in no position to argue, object, or speak any words at all.
Happy choosing, Starlight Glimmer. Let's get started now, shall
Starlight's
we?
Glimmer's choosing?
However, you might want to be ready to calm your friends, seeing they will be confused and lost.
Said Chrysalis in a sarcastic tone. Chrysalis chuckled as she lifted the spell from Starlight's friends, resulting in nothing but confusion and panic.
What the?
Exclaimed Rainbow Dash, being the first of the 7 to come to realization of the situation. There was a stir of panic among the room.
It's okay,
causing
Rainbow.
Starlight to
I still
act
love you.
Immediately,
Girls, calm down!
exclaimed Starlight, immediately catching every pony's attention.
Starlight? Where are we? What's going on?
Questioned Twilight.
You are attached to
confused.
a will.
You have to listen to me. All of you.
All of
You are
you.
all in danger unless you calm down.
You're in danger
Said
too.
Starlight. The attempt to calm her friends was failing miserably until Chrysalis intervened.
You best listen to your friend, seeing she is currently your only hope to escaping. Even though I doubt all of you will be making it out of here alive. Unless you calm down, your life will be drained clean out your pathetic little bodies.
They're not
Twilight
pathetic,
stared
you.
at Starlight and gave her a look
You
of fear
bug.
and confusion.
Is she telling the truth, Starlight?
questioned Twilight.
Yes.
Starlight
Maybe.
nodded her head, giving Twilight a look of severity. Twilight, along with the others, quickly caught on that wherever they were, and whatever type of situation they had been pulled into, was serious.
Very serious.
They quickly calmed down, not knowing that this was only the beginning of a nightmare, and the end for some of them.
Now, let's get started. Go
Okay.
ahead, Starlight. Begin with the first spin.
The first reminds me of the one about Academy with the spinning wheel.
Labeled spin. The device immediately started to spin at a fast pace as Starlight prepared herself for the worst possible outcome.
Sounds like a washing
All
machine
7 of her
on a
friends were
cycle.
surprised, seeing they had not expected the device to spin, but remembered what Chrysalis had said, along with Starlight. The device had started to slow down.
They're gonna get
so Starlight
dizzy.
prepared for whatever may
They're gonna get
follow,
very
as
dizzy
the
and
device
giddy.
came to a stop with Twilight as its choice.
Ah, the Princess of Friendship herself. Well, Starlight, time to choose. Option 1, use your magic to remove her cutie mark nice and slow. And
Oh, you just take it back to Starlight to her early days, aren't
To
you?
lie that you cannot perform such a task.
I like how you put the
Chrysalis.
cutie mark there. That's
Starlight
good.
cussed in her mind, aware that Chrysalis had read up on her previous life, and the fact that she was powerful enough to take away any pony's cutie mark with ease. Chrysalis continued with the choices.
Do you think
even though Starlight already knew what they
Starlight
were.
will be
Option
want to do that?
2, spin again, and let fate decide some pony's death.
Oh, dear.
Lastly, option 3, sacrifice yourself to save your friends.
That's
The
too.
choice is yours.
I think the third
You have
option
30
is too
seconds to
easy.
decide.
Twilight stared at Starlight.
That's an
with
easy
fear in
option
her
to
eyes,
take.
while
Option
Starlight
3,
pondered
I
over
think.
her choices.
In a way.
The choice was either to remove her mentor of what made her who she was, or some pony to be killed at random choice.
Where would the
Both choices made her shiver, especially her
if you
third
take
choice,
away the cutie mark,
and
where
she
would the
didn't
that
want to
cutie mark
choose
go?
any of them.
When you go
She
into the
couldn't
vault.
just let fate decide over her inability to choose, so she didn't even think the second
Option number 2. Okay.
time was running out, and she had to choose.
Option
So
number
with
1. It has to
much
be the option number
hesitation,
1, hasn't it?
Starlight pulled the first lever.
Excellent choice, my dear. Unfortunately for you, Princess Twilight Sparkle, your own student would rather take everything from you to save her own skin.
It's not funny.
Chrysalis stated with a
not
sinister
funny.
chuckle. Twilight stared sadly at her student as a door to the inside of the room opened wide. Starlight felt her heart drop as she stood up from her seat and walked into the room where her friends were trapped.
Oh dear.
Starlight walked around
You can't see.
until she stood before Twilight.
Can she can't see
Tears
where she
escaping
isn't?
her eyes. Twilight was remaining as calm as she possibly could, due to what would happen if she were to plead any louder than she was. Starlight could only stare at her mentor with eyes of sorrow, as she ignited her horn with an aura of purple magic.
Starlight, please don't.
Starlight did not want to be swayed into having second thoughts, so before Twilight could say anything to change her mind, she gripped Twilight's cutie mark in a magic aura and began to pull.
Take your time, Starlight. Nice
Starlight,
and slow now.
Starlight's gonna get
Chrysalis.
killed, I think, as well.
Starlight obeyed and slowly tugged away at what seemed like Twilight's entire lifeline.
Oh dear.
Twilight struggled and cried, feeling her life being ripped clean from her, causing the life meter on her chair to slowly fill. Twilight's features had started to change, with her body falling to a much more pale purple, and her eyes falling to a gray color. She looked as if she had entered rigor mortis, and had been dead for hours.
She's
but
dead?
She was still fully alive
Oh.
in a battle to survive.
Oh, it's
Chrysalis's
just, it's basically the
scheme
cute
of
mark's gone,
revenge.
basically, isn't it?
After
In a
what
way.
seemed like hours for Twilight, her cutie mark was finally removed, violently, leaving her completely weak and sickened at the loss of what
I'm
made
sorry,
her who she was.
Very good,
your
Starlight.
cute mark's gone.
Now, destroy it. Destroy the one thing that your mentor had
What?
to earn in her life. The thing that makes her special.
You could destroy the cutie mark now.
What her special talent is. Destroy it all!
Starlight nearly broke at the command given by Chrysalis. Twilight was staring at her with tear-filled eyes, begging for her not to perform the task that had been forced upon her. She stared back at Twilight.
You haven't got a choice
and
really,
gave her a
Starlight,
look
have you?
of sadness.
I'm sorry.
With a quick burst of magic, Twilight's cutie mark was obliterated to nothing but magic dust. Somehow, Twilight was able to hold herself to a calm level of emotion, knowing that the life meter was there. The impact devastated Starlight.
I can see the
She
magical.
watched the magic dust particles fade to nothing.
I can see that on the
space of
the
room.
cute mark.
If this was only the first task, she had no idea what Chrysalis had in store for her for the rest of the game. Starlight walked back out and took a seat, awaiting Chrysalis's next step in her vengeance.
How does it feel, Starlight? How does it feel to
I don't like it though.
destroy some pony's destiny in the coldest way possible? How does it feel to be hated by the first pony to ever accept you as a worthy pupil?
Chrysalis,
Starlight
you
did not
fucker!
answer and just continued to stare directly at Twilight through the glass. Twilight's head was down, so Starlight couldn't tell if Twilight hated her, or if it was just the after effects of what she had been forced to do. If anything, Twilight was
could be the
probably
after effects,
disappointed
actually.
and sickened, understanding that Starlight had no choice. But this game of demented choice was far from over.
Very
As
far
Chrysalis
from over.
directed her
Very far from
once
over.
more.
Yeah.
As much as I like to watch the presence of friendship grow more and more, we have a game to continue. Go on, Starlight.
Is it Pinkie
Give
Pie
me a
next,
second round of choice.
or is it going to be
Chrysalis
random?
commanded.
Is it going to go
Starlight obeyed.
the way we
Pressed
saw
spin
the
button with
ponies in the
shaky
first
hoof,
episode, or is it going to be
watching as
random?
The wheel proceeded to spinning once
I'll be
again.
Rarity next.
As she waited, Starlight struggled to accept the heinous act that she had just performed. It was as if she had returned to her old self once again. The old Starlight that used to enforce a town by persuading ponies that cutie marks were nothing but a nuisance. She shook her head, refusing to even believe for a second that she had returned to her old habits.
You might have
wheel
might
once
have
again
done
came
actually
to a
on
slow
Starlight.
This time, with Rainbow Dash as its choice.
No.
Rainbow's face was nothing but panic and fear, knowing that some sort of demented action was about to happen to her, if Starlight chose so.
Well. It looks like the element of loyalty has been chosen as the wheel's next victim.
You're going to spin number 2, aren't you?
Let's see what I have in
And
store
choose
for
Fluttershy or something.
Russia's best flyer.
Chrysalis stated in a dark tone. Chrysalis shuffled through her options as Starlight stared at Rainbow, her expression being of sadness and anger. Starlight could not say anything as Chrysalis presented
Option
her
number 2,
choices.
maybe. Or
Poor Rainbow Dash. The first option is to use the provided device to break both of Rainbow Dash's wings.
No, what?
A minor fraction here.
That's Rainbow. That is
Until the bone in each
Cupcakes
wing is broken
reference.
in two.
Oh, hey.
Both Starlight
Calm
and
down,
Rainbow
calm, shut
jumped
up.
at the sound of the first option, seeing it was a much more horrid action than what Twilight had to endure. Could Rainbow Dash even handle that much pain?
No.
Starlight
Maybe.
realized that if she were to choose to break Rainbow's wings, keeping her calm enough to avoid her life meter filling to the top was going to be
Rainbow's going to lose a lot of
nearly
blush.
impossible.
Blood.
The last two options are the same, as they will be with each round. You have 30 seconds to decide.
Oh, there's not really much
The
time.
timer started again, and Starlight quickly went over her options. The choice was to either rid Rainbow of her wings, the one thing that made her a Pegasus, in the most violent way possible, allow fate to decide some pony's death, or sacrifice herself to save all 7 of them.
Oh dear.
She pondered over her third option heavily, wondering if it was the best option. She wasn't anything special, just the protege of a now broken princess. She reached her hoof outward to the third lever, ready to end it all, until suddenly a thought came over her.
2.
Even if she decided the third option, more than likely, It would cause her friends to act in disagreement, causing their life meters to fill and kill all 7 of them in one fell swoop.
That's cunning.
Starlight had finally realized that Chrysalis had trapped her, and no matter what, some pony was either going to be tortured severely or die in the end. She had 2 choices, torture or death. She pulled the first lever, not wanting fate to decide her friend's fates.
Rainbow.
Rainbow Dash did not cry, just breathed heavily with anger, as Starlight made her way into the room once more, noticing a bat covered in sharp nails appear next to Rainbow Dash from a flash of changeling magic. Rainbow started to sweat.
Don't take her wings.
Knowing what was coming,
Take these broken wings.
of the pain that she'd endure. As Starlight gripped the bat with her magic and levitated it into her hooves, Rainbow started to struggle violently, causing her life meter to fill just a little bit.
Please don't do it, Starlight! Remember that time we chillaxed on top of Twilight's castle? Remember that, Starlight? We were happy, respectful, and...
Rainbow did not have time to finish her sentence, and was immediately engulfed in severe pain, as her left wing was struck violently by Starlight's bat. The nails dug deep into the wing stem, striking the thick bone with a force that Rainbow could not even describe.
Oh, Rainbow.
Even more pain ensued.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
As Starlight pulled the bat out of the wing with a
That is a very...
Rainbow screamed in pain, causing her life meter to immediately rise.
Not a nice sound effect.
Starlight acted immediately in Rainbow's defense.
Rainbow, stop screaming, or you'll be stuck dry up all your life.
Pleaded
The
Starlight.
blood's gonna come out anyway,
Rainbow
Starlight.
stared angrily at Starlight. Her anger was not directed at Starlight, mainly at the one who had stuck her into this game of madness in the first place.
Chrysalis.
Rainbow gritted her teeth as Starlight raised the bat once again, and struck the wing stem once again with violent force. The Pegasus bit her lip, attempting not to scream from the severe pain that Starlight had forced upon her, and only grew as she felt her wings start to fracture. Starlight pulled the bat out of the
That
wing
is
stem
disgusting,
once more,
but...
and with one final strike
Oh,
of
I'm so
mighty
sorry,
force,
Rainbow. I'm so
the
sorry.
bone finally gave in to the blows. The wing stem broke in two,
Fucking hell.
causing a loud crack to erupt among the room, as Rainbow Dash fell to tears from the bones snapping. She attempted to hold back her screams, biting her lips so hard that it had begun to bleed. One wing down, one to go. Starlight knew that as she came into full perspective of Rainbow's right wing. Tears filled Rainbow's eyes as once again Starlight struck the right wing stem with massive force. Blood covered the bat and nails as Starlight pulled the bat out of the wing stem, proceeding to another violent hit
I'm
to
so sorry,
Rainbow's
Rainbow.
right
I'm so
wing stem.
sorry.
Starlight could tell that Rainbow was close to breaking as she pulled the bat out again and prepared for yet another strike. Rainbow stared in horror as the bat made contact once again, feeling the nails strike some nerves
Just
and
like
dig
that,
into
man.
the bone. At this point, Rainbow was begging for mercy, feeling her wing stems slowly begin to give in to the blows. Starlight pulled the bat out once again, and with full force, struck the wing again. Rainbow could not take it anymore, feeling her bone crack violently, but not into two separate bones.
No?
The pain was too much, as she let out her screams of pain and suffering. Before Starlight could even make an attempt to calm Rainbow, her life meter was filled with every bit of her life force. Rainbow's screams silenced, and her entire body fell to nothing but an empty shell. Starlight stared in fear at her lifeless friend, feeling a strong toll strike her entire body. Suddenly, Starlight along with the others became surprised, noticing her limbs being freed of the restraints that held her to the demented machine. Starlight was confused, but quickly became aware.
It's a torture
she
machine,
saw
you
the seat Rainbow was seated
dipstick.
in convert into a grinding machine.
What?
The platform below Rainbow's rump had opened itself.
It's like a
only to reveal a sharp
Pegasus
rotating at a rapid
device.
pace. In an instant, Rainbow's body immediately started to descend into the blades, causing blood to splatter onto Starlight's face and body. She watched in horror as her friend was quickly grinded into nothing but muck from her flank all the way to her head. All of Starlight's friends became afraid, hearing the gushing sound of Rainbow's body being turned to nothing but grinded pony, causing their life meters to rise a little. However, they quickly calmed to where they were just calm enough for their meters not to catch anything. Rainbow was gone in seconds, as Starlight stared in horror at the blood-soaked seat that Rainbow had once sat in. She wanted to cry, but knew that this probably wasn't the last time she'd see a friend die.
No.
Chrysalis had prepared this game with every one of her bases covered.
Yeah.
And if this was only the beginning, what was coming in the following spins?
Looks like the best flyer in Equestria couldn't handle the pain. Such a shame.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
The elite flyers. Looks like they will have to find a new top flyer. Now, let's move on, Starlight.
Starlight obeyed, and
I
exited
hate
the room
Chrysalis,
to begin
man.
the third
I hate
round
her.
of what she hoped was just a nightmare. This was no nightmare, and even Starlight knew that as she sat down.
It's happening
once
for
again,
real.
staring
That's what's
at the
happening.
blood-soaked
It's
seat
happening for
through
real.
the glass where her friend Rainbow Dash had once sat, but was now gone forever. Wiping tears away, Starlight did not hesitate and pressed the spin button once again, knowing that there was no escape.
Has to be Applejack
In her
or
mind, all she hoped was that the end result
Rarity
of
or
her
something, isn't
choices
it?
would not
Shouldn't
lead
it?
to her friends hating her. One had already died a gruesome death, and she couldn't even fathom what other choices awaited her. At this point, she didn't know what to expect in the remaining spins.
No?
And as the wheel came to a slow stop once more,
Who is it going to be?
Fluttershy was
No!
its choice. Fluttershy shuddered in her seat at the sudden realization of her being the next victim of Chrysalis's game of sweet revenge. Starlight had to hold herself together, knowing that whatever she chose here was going to be difficult to decide.
Choose another spin, please.
The element of kindness. The most sweet, kind.
Please choose another option, please.
Chrysalis gagged from her own words, being a creature of cruelty and pure evil.
Don't.
You ponies make me sick with your sweetness.
Oh, shut the fuck up!
Weak, useless, and pathetic friendship. Which is why I have a special punishment for element of everything I despise.
Chrysalis's voice shook the entire room as she continued onward with Starlight's choice over the other two.
Your first option is to cut the Pegasus's tongue off.
What?
Seeing her
That's not-
special talent involves being able to communicate with her animals.
She's got a stare,
And for the
though.
other options, you already know your choices. 30 seconds, Starlight Glimmer.
30 seconds?
Choose wisely.
It was
The
5
timer
seconds before.
started, and Starlight quickly
Was it?
resorted to her
I can't remember.
choices, immediately forgetting about choosing the third option. Two options remained. Take away the one thing that allowed Fluttershy to communicate with animals, or allow fate to decide.
Allow fate,
She
please.
had to choose carefully, noticing Fluttershy staring at her with sad eyes, immediately causing her heart to sink. Fluttershy's stare was always convincing, and impacted Starlight massively. Her hoof wanted to reach for the first lever, seeing it was clearly the better choice in her situation.
2.
But Fluttershy's stare was making her think twice. Starlight's hoof continued to shuffle back and forth between the first and the second lever,
Choose
noticing her
2.
time limit narrowing down to its final seconds.
Choose 2.
Starlight was conflicted, and as much as she didn't want to resort to this option, Starlight could not beat Fluttershy's stare. She pulled the second switch.
Well, well, I can see that kindness was too hard for you to harm. How pathetic! No matter, It's not me choosing to play equestria roulette for the lives of my dear friends.
Please, what?
Chrysalis laughed as the wheel began to spin again. Starlight's friends had started to panic a little, causing their life meters to rise a little, but not to where it was high enough to kill some pony. Starlight hoped and prayed for the wheel to land on Rainbow's seat, seeing no pony would be killed terribly and she would dodge a bullet. She had a 1 out of 7 chance as the wheel came to a slow stop.
1 out of 7
Starlight could
chances.
see that Rainbow's slot
Wow.
was very close to the zone where it needed to stop. Starlight bit her hoof, watching the wheel
It's
come
just
to
a
near
fate
complete
now. It's
stop.
just fate.
She couldn't watch as the empty seat entered the target zone and prayed for it to stop.
Please stop.
It didn't.
Oh, fuck.
The empty seat slithered past the target zone and came to a halt, with Trixie Lulumoon as its choice.
Oh, fuck.
Starlight froze in fear
You're
as
safe
she
now,
stared at her terrified
Fluttershy.
friend through the glass. Trixie stared at Starlight with wide eyes as the countdown to her
I don't
death
have a plush, though.
began. A robotic
Not
arm
with me at the
emerged
moment.
from the bottom compartment of Trixie's seat, a spinning saw blade attached to the end of it. Trixie stared in fear as the saw lunged into her face, cutting into the center of her upper head.
Oh, that's...
Starlight! Save me!
Trixie's screams were quickly
That's
silenced
disgusting!
as the blade cut past her flesh and into her skull. Her entire body convulsed as the blade shredded through the mare's entire head. Blood splattered everywhere and into every pony's mane, along with skull fragments and brain matter, as the saw
Ugh.
continued to cut all the way down the center of Trixie's entire body. By the time the saw had finished its work, Trixie's entire body had been shredded in 2. The
Ugh.
entire device was covered
That's
in blood,
disgusting.
splatter, and other
That
pieces
is
of matter
absolutely
as the saw blade
disgusting.
ceased spinning and retreated into its original compartment. Starlight stared through the glass, feeling sick. She had just chosen to rely on chance, but instead it had gotten her best friend killed horribly. The sight of Trixie's remains traumatized Starlight as she finally gave in to the sickness that had
Maybe
plagued her since
Chris
the
has
first
planned that
spin.
spin, actually.
Starlight vomited all over herself, hearing Chrysalis laugh in the darkness.
Looks like you'll have to find another best friend, dear. Luck was not on your side this time, and neither was fate. I saw
Oh, be
right through
quiet,
your hope,
you!
And for just a second, I really thought that some guardian angel had prevented yet another death. But no. Instead, your plan backfired. And now you are the cause of 2 of your friends' deaths. Thank you for a great show, dear. I never thought it would be this fun to see you broken. And yet we
This
have
is
one
not
more
fun,
thing to go
Chrysalis.
before your worst
You can
nightmare
shut the
is
fuck-
over.
You can shut the
Let
fuck up.
the nightmare continue!
Oh dear, what's
Chrysalis
next?
laughed, causing Starlight to become angry. There was no way out of this nightmare,
Okay, we got...
and the choices were only
You got about
going to
3
increase.
spins, is that correct? Or 2?
Starlight sat helplessly as she commenced to spin the wheel for the 4th time. At
We
this
got
point,
2 or 3 to go.
Starlight was already broken beyond repair. She pressed the spin button once again, and just like before, the wheel proceeded to spinning. She had caught on to what Chrysalis had intended to force her to do as the first options, based off of what she had said about Fluttershy. The punishments were related to the chosen pony's destiny, and each punishment involved malevolent acts designed to take away whatever made that pony unique. Twilight's cutie mark, the one thing that signified her as a pony of magical properties. beyond the
Applejack?
average
Pinkie
unicorn.
Pie?
Rainbow Dash's wings, the parts of her that allowed her to perform her sonic rainbow and fly at speeds beyond the average Pegasus.
Yeah.
Fluttershy's tongue, the one thing that allowed her to talk to animals, while her eyes. Starlight shivered,
No.
knowing what Fluttershy's second punishment would be, if she were chosen again. The wheel came to a stop once again, this time with Applejack as its choice.
The element of honesty herself. Well, let's see what I have chosen for Ponyville's most reliable and productive civilian.
Chrysalis spoke in a mighty voice.
How lovely! How lovely indeed.
Starlight gulped from the tone of Chrysalis's voice, knowing that whatever she had chosen for Applejack was possibly the worst punishment out of all that she had done to her friends.
Really?
Without a doubt, her suspicions were correct.
Your first option is to sever the farm pony's limbs with a machete I will provide you.
Really?
You already know your other options by now, so no need for me to repeat myself. Choose wisely, Starlight Glamour. 30 seconds.
Timer started again, and Starlight felt as if she were going to pass out, considering her choices.
That's hard.
She either had to rely on chance again, her odds not even being any better than before, or
No.
she would have to break Applejack of her limbs. Starlight had already understood why Chrysalis had chosen Applejack's punishment as it was. Applejack's limbs were what she relied on most
Bucking.
to do almost everything.
Bucking
But she
apples.
relied mostly on her back hooves to buck the apple trees of Sweet Apple Acres.
Yeah, that's true.
Without them, she would remain immobile for the rest of her life. Not even prosthetic limbs could do what the hooves she was born with could. Starlight had no idea what to choose. It was either assured death or breaking Applejack, and even though the obvious choice seemed the right one, Starlight's hoof shuffled back and forth between the first and the second lever,
Which,
just like with Fluttershy. She felt tears forming
if
her
she
eyes
spins, it
until a
could
voice
land on
erupted
Fluttershy.
behind the
If
glass.
it-
Choose me, Starlight. Don't let another pony die. Choose me!
Starlight's time was running out as she stared at Applejack through the glass. She had to choose, and Applejack had even given her assurance to do the unthinkable to her limbs. Starlight cried as she finally pulled the first lever. Chrysalis laughed as Starlight stood up, having no other choice but to obey.
what?
She couldn't run, hide, or escape.
No. Sorry, Applejack. Very sorry.
A much sinister choice. I never thought some pony as weak as you would choose such an unthinkable act of
Oh,
malevolence.
be quiet, you!
That Applejack will regret her words when she feels the pain of the blade breaking through her limbs.
Chrysalis stated with joy and
It's not
darkness
funny!
within her voice.
It's not funny at all!
Starlight proceeded into the room, where she rounded around the device until she stood before Applejack. In a flash of changeling magic, a machete appeared before the farm pony. Starlight gripped the weapon with her magic, watching as Applejack braced herself for the worst. Starlight took careful aim at the joints, hoping not to strike the bone. She just wanted to get this game of vengeance and sinister acts done and over with.
Over with, yeah.
So with as much strength as she could muster,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Applejack.
Starlight swung the machete forward into Applejack's left front hoof first. The blade struck where she wanted it to hit, watching as Applejack did her best to hold back her agonizing screams. The blade had dug deep into the left front shoulder joint, but not all the way through. It was clear that Chrysalis had intentionally gave Starlight a dull blade, meaning it was going to take multiple swings to break all the way through.
Oh, you horrible cunt!
Stay strong. It's going to take multiple swings.
Applejack nodded her head
Yeah.
as Starlight pulled the blade from Applejack's shoulder joint.
That
All
sound
that
effect, man!
followed was blood. Blood leaked violently from the open laceration, considering Applejack's heart rate being rapid in this situation. Starlight had to not only keep her friend from screaming from the pain, but also keep her from bleeding to death. With another hard swing, the machete blade entered the open shoulder wound once again.
Oh, that's
This
disgusting!
time, the force of the swing was powerful enough to break through the limb, causing Applejack's eyes to fill with tears and her eyes to become bloodshot.
I'm sorry.
Starlight could tell that Applejack was putting every bit of her strength into her top row of front teeth, biting down on her bottom lip with a massive force. Out of any pony here, Applejack was probably the most tolerable to severe pain, which was a plus for Starlight. The others were quiet, knowing the danger if they were to do anything. Starlight proceeded to Applejack's right front leg, making sure to take careful aim before swinging. Chrysalis suddenly interrupted.
What?
That's it, Starlight Glimmer. No more procrastination. You have 30 seconds to complete the task before I decide to kill the farm pony myself.
The timer suddenly
You're the one who
started,
gave
and
the
Starlight fell
dull
quickly
blade.
into a panic, knowing Chrysalis was not going to spare her any chance to recover from the impact she had gained from the punishments.
Ow.
Starlight stared at Applejack, gripping the blade in her magic.
20 seconds!
Confirmed Chrysalis.
Ugh.
Knowing time was not on her side, Starlight did not hold up. She thrusted the blade into Applejack's right front shoulder blade at a more rapid pace. She groaned with
Oh
sadness
my
with each
gosh, that
thrust
sounds
of the
disgusting.
machete,
I'm
missing
so
the targeted
sorry.
joint multiple
I'm so
times
sorry.
and hitting just to the left or right of the shoulder joint instead. Applejack was somehow managing to hold her screams back, as Starlight finally managed to sever the front right leg. Applejack had 2 massive streams of tears down her face, as Starlight proceeded to Applejack's back legs, not even thinking about the time she had left. Starlight violently threw the blade into Applejack's right back leg joint,
I'm sorry,
not
I'm
holding
sorry,
up on
I'm
the
so
number
sorry.
of swings. She cried as she continued to throw the blade into the leg joint, severing it after about 20 rapid thrusts.
20.
10 seconds!
Starlight did not waste time and threw the blade into Applejack's last limb rapidly. Blood flew into her face as she continued to perform what seemed like an endless nightmare. Applejack was barely hanging on as Starlight continued to strike the limb over and over,
She's gonna die,
the
man.
dull blade making her task difficult to complete.
3, 2,
1.
1.
Just before the final second ended, Applejack's final leg was severed clean from the joint. By the end of the task, Starlight's entire face and body was covered in splats of Applejack's blood, and the farm pony seat had become a bloodbath. Blood seeped from Applejack's shoulder and leg joints rapidly, and her entire body had fallen to a much more pale tan color. Applejack continued to fight back the screams as Starlight fell to her knees and continued to
Okay.
cry, feeling like a monster for what she had just done. Starlight wiped her tears, feeling weak and sick. She struggled to walk straight as she exited the room, unsure if she could continue this game of horrors.
If you leave, you're gonna get
The
killed,
troubled
Starlight.
mare took a seat, staring at a limbless Applejack through the glass. Her entire body shook with fear, sadness, and anger. Her head had begun to spin, unsure if she could continue onward. Chrysalis had already managed to break her, and deep in the darkest depths of her
Oh,
mind, she wondered
just-
if the third option was
My
the best
option,
thing
just
to do.
end this fucking madness
Could she
now,
go on
please.
in life
Just
normally if
end
she
it now.
wished to survive? What about the others? She had already killed 2 of them, and the only victim who had not been harmed that was chosen was Fluttershy. Even though she had not been harmed, the events of this would plague her mind for the rest of her days.
Yeah.
It was clear. No pony was going to make it out the same as they had been when they arrived.
Yeah.
It had hit Starlight like a ton of bricks. No matter what happened, no matter how this ended, she would never look at life or friendship the same way ever again.
No.
Twilight would no longer be able to do magic like she used to. Fluttershy, Equestria's most timid and caring Pegasus, would be traumatized, and Applejack would remain unable to buck apple trees ever again.
Very
Who
traumatized.
else was going to die or lose everything? Who else had to die or lose everything?
Rarity?
Starlight knew what she had to do.
What?
Well, go on, Starlight. Spin the wheel again, just so you can decide if one shall
3
live
ponies
and
left.
be punished horribly, or if one shall be chosen randomly. Go on, do it!
Starlight gritted her teeth as she proceeded to spinning the wheel for the 5th time. The entire time it spun, Starlight knew what her choice would be this time. It didn't matter who it landed on. It was the choice that Chrysalis had wanted all along, and eventually knew that Starlight would be forced to do it. Chrysalis had planned this out perfectly, and knew what the outcome would be before the
Rarity?
game of vengeance even began.
Is it Rarity?
Starlight took a deep breath as the wheel stopped. Pinkie Pie was its choice.
I love Pinkie.
The element of laughter. Your first option is...
Chrysalis was interrupted by the sound of a lever being pulled. This time, it was the third lever that was pulled. Chrysalis just laughed at Starlight's choice, as Starlight said something unexpected.
You win.
No other words escaped Starlight's mouth as she proceeded into the room, staring at the slot that had been saved for her. As expected, every pony proceeded to objecting to Starlight's decision.
Starlight, you don't have to do this. This is morbid.
Objected Twilight.
Who's gonna help me bake a sugar cube corner?
Asked Pinkie, starting to cry.
Who's going to wear the dress I designed just for you?
And
God.
Rarity, also beginning to cry.
Oh,
You don't have to sacrifice yourself, Sugar Cube. Don't do this.
Applejack added.
Please, no more death. Please, no more.
no more.
Fluttershy pleaded. Starlight immediately acted, noticing the life meters rising.
Girls! Don't you see? If I continue to play Chrysalis' game, it's only going to end in either more death or relentless torture.
That's
I
true.
can't do
That's
that.
very true.
I can't hurt you anymore. It's because of me that Rainbow
Is Starlight
and
going to
Reacion are
sacrifice her,
dead.
her life
It's
now?
because of me that the only pony that was ever willing to take me in as a protege is now broken of all her special talents. It's because of me that Applejack will never bucketry ever again.
Starlight started to cry and breathe heavily,
I'm sorry,
causing
Starlight.
Twilight and the others to fall to silence. All five of them could tell that Starlight was being completely serious, and the cold truth was
Yeah.
that she was not wrong about anything.
No. I'm very sorry, Starlight.
I can't. I can't.
No.
I can't play games with the only ponies that care for me. I can't play chance with your lives.
No.
I can't do this anymore.
Twilight, along with the others, started to understand. As much as they were not wanting to accept the truth, it was clear. Starlight's choice was the best one.
Yeah.
It always was.
Yeah.
From the very beginning. No pony spoke as Starlight proceeded to her final task, walking up a provided set of steps and selling herself into the restraints within the opening. In the opening,
I'm sorry.
there was two sets of restraints, one for around the midsection of the body, and one for the back hooves. As she heard the device start up for one last spin,
I'm sorry.
Starlight spoke her final words to her friends.
I'm so sorry.
Whatever you do, don't scream. I'm sorry for everything.
Before the wheel spun for the last time, Chrysalis spoke in her victory against Starlight.
Goodbye, Starlight Glimmer.
The wheel proceeded to spinning as the restraints around Starlight's midsection tightened around her to where she couldn't move. The lower section of the opening spun along with the device while her upper body remained still. In an instant, Starlight's lower body spun, causing her entire body to twist until it was ripped in two. Starlight's spine was quickly snapped clean in two, along with the rest of her body. She didn't scream, move, or let out any final breaths. The mare's
I'm
death
very
was
sorry.
all sudden,
Starlight, I
as
am
blood
absolutely
shot
sorry.
everywhere, both from the opening and Starlight's mouth. As the wheel continued to spin and twist Starlight's entire body. Starlight was dead within seconds as the wheel came to a slow stop, and Starlight's entire upper body fell limp in the center of the device.
Is that like a G-force
Blood
effect?
dripped violently from the mare's mouth, and nothing but the sound of her guts gushing and her spine snapping were present within the room. Every pony was unaware of the severity of Starlight's death, until, just as promised, all five of them were freed from their seats. Applejack hit the floor with a hard thud, being unable to support herself. Rarity and Fluttershy rushed to help support Applejack, due to them being in the best of conditions. Once all five were stable enough, all five of them turned to see their beloved friend mangled to death in the center slot of the machine.
I'm so sorry.
The impact of Starlight's death immediately resulted to every pony crying. Every pony hung their heads at the disturbing and tragic sight of their once friend, Starlight Glimmer, covered in her own blood.
I'm very sorry.
Hanging limp in death.
Such a shame for your friend to die such a gruesome way. But more love for us. As promised, you are all free to go. Enjoy the rest of your pathetic lives.
Twilight's anger was through the roof as she spoke out to Chrysalis.
Wait until I contact Princess Celestia about what you've done. You'll be sorry that you ever did this.
Threatened Twilight. Chrysalis just laughed, surprising Twilight.
What's so funny?
Did you really think that I wasn't prepared for you to go to your son, Princess?
What?
You even dare to go to Celestia or speak to any pony about what happened here. A death spell that I cursed upon all of you prior to the events you just experienced will be triggered. The spell will kill you immediately if you even try. Oh, and don't even try to lift the curse, because this curse can only be lifted by a changeling of my magnitude. So not even Thorax can help you.
Oh, great.
Twilight, along with the others, were silent, knowing that Chrysalis had made sure to cover every single possible escape. There was no way to serve justice to Starlight, and she had sacrificed herself to save all of them. She deserved justice, but would never get it. Chrysalis had won. She had gotten her vengeance.
What?
And would continue to hide.
No, that's not fair.
Never to be convicted.
That's not fair.
Like she had
That's not.
Starlight to
That's not
perform.
bloody fair, man.
Now please, exit out of the back of the room, ponies. As for me, I have some pony love to collect and harvest.
That was creepy and disturbing, very disturbing, and oh, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe for now. Okay. Let me just check that. You're safe. That was a very bloody fucking whatever disturbing reading. Though I'm happy that Twilight is safe for now. It's gonna be very very traumatizing for her. Dear me. Like I said, it did remind me of the friendship test a bit, even though that's a completely different reading. But if you killed Fluttershy, I'd give my fucking stare. I wouldn't be happy at all, and just keep her here for a moment, because and though Fluttershy is not in pain, she's got pain on the inside. The pain that she can't tell any pony about what happened. this was a. I don't know how to explain this. It's disturbing story. Because it's me. It's very disturbing, and I'm so sorry, Fluttershy. It's happened to you, but you got me and my viewers and a silly Grimdark. Silly? More disturbing. I know. It is disturbing. Yeah, have a kiss. Pinkie Pie, where is you safe as well? I'm safe. Pinkie Pie, you're safe as well. Random as ever. I'm not sure how Pinkie Pie's gonna cope. And every pony's gonna think, where's Rainbow Dash? Where's Rainbow Dash? And I'm thinking, you can't say anything! You have to lie just to... If you put one toe out of line, you're dead. And you can say, Chrysalis done it. Oh! You're dead. You can't do anything. You can't win. You can't win at all. And if you just tell one pony, you're fucking dead. And you're like... And in my opinion, it might lead to suicide along the ponies. Because I know they'll be thinking, what's the point of living? Applejack, Applejack, bound to a wheelchair or something, making Big Mac do all the chores, and maybe Apple Bloom helping Applejack, and she can't say anything to Applejack, and Apple Bloom barking out. And Fallouts can't help. What about Kevin? He's a changeling, isn't he? Or his brother? Well, every pony, happy Nightmare Nights. And Nightmare Nights can be very disturbing. Fuck you, Chrysalis.